Welcome to the Battle of Ohio podcast, where we follow the revival of the historic rivalry between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns. All right, so this is the week 12 recap edition of Battle of Ohio podcast predictions. And let's see, looks like we all kind of had a pretty good week this week. Our guest Alex actually tied with you, Thomas, and I'm only one game behind y'all. Wouldn't be if the goddamn Bears had listened to me about Mitch Trubisky, but they won't listen.
They were close.
Quarterback, and I know he's
they're close.
But, I know
close.
But they didn't trust him, the Mitch. They didn't trust in the Mitch, Thomas.
You know it's funny. First of all, that's always something I would say. But it's funny about that game. First of all, what's funny is I need you to stop hopping on Twitter and hopping behind my takes with your hot takes, because it makes my take seem a little less hot when you come with another hot take after my hot take. So then we got double debate. I go all right, they go who's this fool defending Mitch Trubisky? And they're like, oh, I'm sorry. It's the co-host of the guy who's defending the guy who's defending Baker Mayfield. So it makes my credibility go out the window too. So I gotta
listen. I need y'all to understand that Mitch Trubisky is the GOAT.
Oh, you almost got that. Oh, that was right through his hands. Okay, they only down by 7. Okay. Oh, the Ravens received ball at the half, up, game over.
I don't know. It's been an interesting game so far. For those of you who may or may not be confused, we're recording this during the Tuesday night Ravens Cowboys game, and it has been more interesting than you would expect. The Cowboys haven't. I don't think the Cowboys have really led at any point, but they've been keeping up with the Ravens, which I honestly did not see. I was talking to Thomas before this game, and I do not trust Mike McCarthy at all. I do not trust the Cowboys at all, and after enduring a decade of him, I don't really trust Andy Dalton that much.
Thought I believe he was there for 10 years. Man.
Yeah, he was there from 9 years. He was there from 2011 to 2019.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
So let's see. Like I said, Thomas and Alex are both tied at 11-3 so far. They'll end up tied because the only game left to play is this Ravens-Steelers game, and all three of us picked the Ravens to win this game. So regardless of what happens, it won't change the order of the standings. But basically, so what ended up happening, Thomas ended up 11-3, Alex ended up 11-3, I ended up 10-4. And it was almost reversed, but then, the Bears just had to bear. Didn't work out. But, yeah, that was a game that I got wrong. I picked the Bears over the Lions, and it almost happened, but not quite. Alex, well, we'll talk about that later. But Alex predicted the Chargers to beat the Chiefs, and that may have been ill-advised because the Patriots didn't lose. Let's just say that.
Patriots destroyed the. I picked the Patriots, right?
Yeah, no, me and you both picked the Patriots, and that was a good thing. Justin Herbert played about exactly that was the Justin Herbert that I've been expecting to see all year. The Justin Herbert who I said was going I've been railing against anybody thinking that the Bengals should consider Justin Herbert or anything like that, because I was thinking he was going to end up being a bust. That didn't happen, but what we saw against the Patriots this week, that was the version of Justin Herbert that I was expecting to see. There's basically a guy out there who, he's obviously got some talent. He's making some plays happen here and there. But at the end of the day, he's just, I thought he was going to be too erratic and, too bad of a decision maker for the NFL. But definitely the case up against Bill Belichick and, his genius coaching.
Something about Bill Belichick and young quarterbacks. Bill Belichick is great at just figuring out young quarterbacks. I mean, just look at the last 2 years. I mean, like, look at what he did to Lamar Jackson. Look at what he did to Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he didn't really stop Patrick Mahomes, but he beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, something that only he did. And probably
he made the runaway rookie of the year look like Carson Wentz.
Yeah. So like, so he something about Bill Belichick and young quarterbacks. He figure out ways to he is a genius. Talk about geniuses. Bill Belichick is a genius.
Accurate. By the way, what are you drinking today, Thomas?
So today I had a little bit of eggnog left. So Evan Williams.
I didn't even know Evan Williams made eggnog. That's interesting.
Yeah, they do. And I poured it some in here.
Nice.
Oh, that's some good stuff.
I don't think I've ever actually had eggnog. I've heard it's gross though.
It's like mixed with like hot coffee. It's so good.
I got a new one today. It's called Big Wave Golden Ale from the Kona Brewing Company. And I actually had this after I got home from work today because oh boy, it was an interesting day at work. So I kind of needed a beer afterwards, and this is delicious. By the way, it's citrusy, and I'm not usually a big fan of like beers with like kind of like a fruit infusion or anything like that. I just like my beers to taste like beer, but this is delicious. I'm gonna be buying more of this.
I like citrus beers. I like fruit beers and ciders and stuff like that.
Yeah. Also, ales, I'm typically not super like, in particular like IPAs. I'm not I'm sometimes I think are pretty good, but for the most part, I think are eh. But this one's just got such a good balance to it. Like, it's like you can taste a lot of the individual citrus flavors, but it really it tastes like beer. It really tastes like beer. It doesn't taste like some crappy version of like flavored beer like you get with a lot of like fruity beers. No, it tastes like beer with, like a hint of like various fruits, but you can make out all the different fruits.
Why don't you and the beer go get married?
Maybe this is pretty damn good beer. I mean, I've had some good beers on this podcast. Like that habanero beer was good. The what was it? The Doom Pedal from 50 West. That was pretty damn good. One of these days I'll make a Hall of Fame of beers that I've had on this podcast, and this one will probably make it.
So we have a Hall of Fame of beers. We have a football Hall of Fame. Now we have Kyle's Hall of Fame of beers.
Well, I mean, not yet, but
and then you're gonna show all the beer montage with the King on the Hill music.
Maybe. I mean, it's a little podcast is a little young for doing something like that right now, but one of these days I'll probably do something like that.
I could literally make a 10-minute montage of me calling Carson Wentz trash already if I wanted to.
You should do it.
Oh yeah, it's coming.
We just got already coming. So what more?
Trust me, I'm already working on it. Trust me, I'm already working on that. Trust me, trust me.
Spoiler
Trust me, I didn't just say that because I was just spitballing stuff. I was saying that because like I'm literally already working on that already. So trust me, that's coming. Don't worry.
All right. So another game that two of us got wrong was the Washington football team defeating the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I was actually talking to Alex while this game was going on, and at the moment, he was actually behind us in the score count.
Yeah.
And this game ended up getting him tied with me, And I told him, like, I'll take not beating you if it means that the Steelers aren't undefeated anymore. Like, I'm totally okay with getting this one wrong. I didn't think that the Washington football team had it in them because, to be honest, they haven't really showed it all season. They have not shown that they can really rise to the challenge when they need to for the vast majority of their games. But boy, that Washington defense came through and really gave Ben Roethlisberger hell.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was a good game to watch.
It was a great game to watch if you hate the Steelers.
Like, first of all, shout out to Alex Smith. Everybody knows that story. If you don't know that story, he didn't just he had questions of his life after surgery. Terrible injury, was out for almost 2 years. Comes back.
17 surgeries, I believe.
Man, it just comes back, lead his team back, possibly could lead his team to the playoffs. I don't really know who's going to come out of that NFC East, but it looks like it's either going to be the Giants or the football team. Maybe the Cowboys could win and make make a good argument. But hey man, it's fun seeing these NFC East teams battle each other because they're all bad. So it's fun to see who's going to win 6 games first. All right.
Yeah, but it's
6 or 7 games first.
it's gonna almost seem like it's fun to talk about right now, but come the playoffs when Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have to go on the road to an NFC East stadium and play a road playoff game against a team that's most likely going to be 6-10. It's not going to seem quite so fun at that point. It's going to be like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they got to find some way to work that in because that's going to be the second time. No, that's going to be the third time that a team with a losing record has made the playoffs and hosted a playoff game. Because the thing is, you can't. If you make the playoffs with a losing record, you're almost guaranteed to host a playoff game because the only way you can do that is by having a really bad division. You can't make the playoffs as a wild card team and have a bad record. It just doesn't work because there's so much competition for those wild card spots.
The first answer to that that everybody's gonna give you, the generic answer that people gonna give you to that problem is, oh, you gotta get away with divisions, kind of like in basketball. But at the same time, I'm not necessarily against what's happening with the NFC East. If that sounds crazy enough. For example, I just think that the importance of winning the division of football, if you take that away, you kind of take away a romanticy of football because the AFC North, winning the AFC North matters so much. It matters so much. And and now that there's 7 teams in the playoffs, I think that you have to keep that automatic bid in there because it keeps the value of winning your division more. And I think it's a bigger reward for teams and divisions like the Browns are in and the Bengals are in than it is for punishment for teams like the NFC East. So like if the teams of the NFC East, if they're that bad, they're gonna get knocked out of the first round of playoffs anyway. And if a team lose a playoff spot to them, they probably going to the Super Bowl anyway. But for a division like the Browns, where there are 4 teams where there's 3 teams that are really good and there's possibly be 4 teams in the future that are all in a playoff hunt and a playoff conversation, it makes winning that division that much more significant because you still play each other 2 times a year, plus you get the home field advantage. I think I just can't. I'm not gonna get behind getting rid of the automatic division bid because I think that matters. I think that always should matter. And even though the NFC East is what it is, even though it's still what it is, it makes 4 teams watchable in the NFL because you're still wondering, I wonder who's going to win this crappy ass division because it matters. So you make 4 teams in the NFL, 4 bad teams in the NFL, watchable. The NFL knows what they're doing, so I'm not. So I'm gonna tell them this, but I don't see any problem. As much as it sucks that we have four bad teams in one division, I kind of don't see a problem with it because in a way you made four bad teams, you made four teams with a losing record have games that matter.
Okay,
I
but
mean,
here's here's my thought process. I get what you're saying, and I do agree to an extent. I don't want to get rid of winning the division mattering, obviously, but there's got to be some sort of like, if your division is so bad that you're sending like a 7-9 or God forbid a 6-10 team, which we very well might get this year to the playoffs, there should be some sort of thing where you lose your right to host a game. Um, because I mean, you said if they're so bad that they're, losing all these games and they're just going to lose in the first round of the playoffs anyway, right? Well, that has literally never happened. There have been
mhm.
two teams that have made it to the playoffs with 7-9. Well, one with a 7-9 record, one with a 7-8-1 record. And that was the Seattle Seahawks with 7-9 in 2010, and the Carolina Panthers with 7-8-1 in 2014. And in both cases, they won their first playoff game. The Seahawks won with the Beast Quake over the New Orleans Saints in the wild card game, and then the
What a play!
Panthers won over the Arizona Cardinals in the wild card playoffs in 2014. And they both got bounced in the divisional round. But the point being is that a home field advantage is so crucial in the NFL because of the way that the NFL just is, that you're basically rewarding these teams for losing more games than they've won. It's like if a team makes it at 9-7, fine, whatever. If a team makes it at 8-8, that's kind of weird, but fine, whatever. But if you've lost more games than you've won, I don't think you should be rewarded for that. Now, sure, maybe you should get a playoff berth, and maybe you should fight for your right to be taken seriously by going on the road and proving that you can win some games. But I don't think you should be able to host a playoff game if you have a losing record.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think there's a way to fix it. I think um I think that the divisions. I think winning your division should give you an automatic bid, but I think that that seeding should go by best to worst record.
Or
But
at the very least, if you have a particularly atrocious record, there should be some sort of like safeguard, like if your record is below a certain standard, then the top wild card team gets to host the playoff game and not you.
well, it also because you gotta put some incentive to win your division in there because all right, you play 16 games in the NFL, six of them are played in your division. You could have a situation where you're just a team that plays in a really bad division. If you
Right.
play like a really bad division, like think about the Patriots, right? A lot of time people say the Patriots they play in the worst division of football outside themselves, so they'll have seasons where they'll have six automatic wins, or at least they should win at least four out of six of their division games. That's a huge advantage compared to somebody who's in the AFC North. When you're in the AFC North, when you're in the AFC North any given year now, you can either play Joe Barrow, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, or Ben Roethlisberger. That's a huge difference than the there's a huge difference than the AFC East or the NFC East for that example. So like when you're looking at sometimes some divisions are tougher than others, and I think that there should be some kind of incentive for one of your division because some divisions aren't all divisions aren't equal. So I think it works. The argument works in both favors. Um,
Absolutely, I agree. I think generally the same system should be kept. I just think there should be something where, like I said, if you send a team with a losing record to the playoffs, that team should not be able to host the playoff game. It
yeah,
should, like normally, yes, I agree. The top seeded, the seeded division winners should be sorted and given home games based on the way that they normally do it now. It's just, with the stipulation that if you have a losing record, then you forfeit the right to host a playoff game to the wild card team that you're facing, because the 4 seed is always going to host the 5 seed in the first round. So
Yeah.
in a way, that would also be kind of an incentive to the wild card teams to be fighting for that playoff seeding. I mean, for the most part, it really shouldn't make a difference. But in a season like this, that would make that 5 seed something to really fight for. It's like if you've lost control of your division, like the Buccaneers kind of have with the Saints, you got swept by the Saints. You're not going to win your division at this point.
Yeah.
But that still gives them something interesting to fight for, as far as potentially hosting a playoff game, because the NFC East is so terrible.
Yeah, the NFC. Yeah, the NFC
I think it kind of balances out the fact that you can potentially send a team with a losing record to the playoffs, because then it's just kind of like okay, well, they won their division, so we'll give them a chance to prove themselves. But I don't think that they should get that home field advantage necessarily. And maybe in 2020 it won't make as much of a difference, but like most years it does make a difference. And like I said, I use as evidence the fact that the Panthers and the Seahawks both won playoff games despite going to the playoffs with losing records.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I don't know. It's kind of I'm not. I just don't. It happened. And besides, this is such an anomaly. By next year, one of these teams is going to rise up and be a 9-7 team or a 10-6 team. Probably. I don't know. Probably. I would probably say the Eagles had the best chance of doing that. I think one of these teams are probably going to rise up and be a better team. This division might get better.
I would say the team with the best chance of that is the best coach team in the division, which is
that's going to be Washington.
Right, it's by a wide margin. It's Washington. The only other, you could say like Joe Judge is doing an all right job with the Giants. After some growing pains early on, it seems like they're kind of turning around, and maybe they're going to win that division. Maybe they're going to turn it around enough to where that final record won't be so disastrously bad. Although they right now their best finish, if they win out, then they'll be 9-7. So that's their best case scenario, but they're not going to win out. Joe Judge ain't that damn good. But I don't know. Ron Rivera is obviously, I don't know if he's the most experienced coach, because Mike McCarthy's pretty experienced, but he's a way better coach than Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy is pretty much trash.
I think we're figuring out that Mike McCarthy just had a lot of talent. Now, granted, there still is a lot of season left. By a lot of seasons, I mean 4 more games after this one. But you know what I mean? I'm trying to figure out what is wrong with Zeke this season. What has Zeke done for me lately? You're freaking Ezekiel Elliott, man. You were unstoppable 3 years ago. What?
He got off to a hot start, and then everybody figured out how to stop him. That's typically what happens with Ohio State guys. Oops, did I say that? Oops.
I'm really trying to figure out, but he was just unstoppable though. Zeke was man. I hope that don't happen to Nick.
Did he hurt his knee or something?
I don't know.
I think that might have something to do with it.
Yeah, I guess so.
I feel like he hurt his knee at some point, and
dude,
especially for running backs, you usually
Saquon tore the ACL though. Think about that. Saquon tore the ACL. Saquon Barkley.
Yeah. On top of that, he's already had injuries. So it's just the injuries before the ACL, he wasn't having that good of a year this year anyway. And I think a lot of that has to do with the injuries that have been kind of building up on him anyway. And now with the ACL, it's just kind of what is Saquon even gonna end up as at this point? Is he?
Oh man, don't say that, because I love Saquon, dude.
Well, you know what? I loved Kajana Carter, but injuries happen.
The crazy thing is, these running backs, man, running back is so hard, because running back, they have the shortest. We talk about the premium positions in the NFL. Running backs, a superstar running back is always the first one to be beat up to continue their career.
Yeah,
it's always
that's part of the reason why people kind of disregard running backs anymore, because it sucks to say, but because of their lack of longevity, they're kind of a dime a dozen these days.
That end, I think they're overused in college. I think
Yeah,
and running backs they take some. I think a lot of running backs in college they take beatings.
according.
Running backs in college, when you're in college, running backs they take a big beating in college. They take a
Mm-hmm.
huge beating in college. So um so by the time they get to the pros, it's like man, I already have all this tread on my tires, opposed to quarterbacks who don't get sacked as much in college, opposed to receivers don't get hit as hard in college. Running backs, man, they're getting beat up in college, and they're that all those hits add up. And so you get a senior running back or a junior running back in college who's been running for 3 years already for a Division I school. Those hits add up, man. And
Well,
then
it's
like by
why
the
you
time
get
by
so
the time
many of
they're
these. It's why you get so many of these insane talents at the NFL level who have like these great starts, who just end up kind of really ultimately amounting to nothing. It's because of what you were saying, because they already put so much wear on their body in college. By the time they get in the
yeah,
NFL, a couple of bad hits knock them out.
yeah. So unfortunate. I mean, and I don't think
It's a
that
block them
I'm
back.
not one of those people who think that NFL players should. I mean, college players should go to the league their um after their freshman year or their sophomore year, because I think that the reason why you tell football players they had to have 3 years of college to make it to the pros. I think you tell them that because of the just the physical prowess of the NFL. And I agree with that for most instances. I think the running back's the only exception because, like, you look at people um, like Maurice Crett. He was one for Ohio State, right? Who got in
Mhm.
trouble. Yeah, he was ready to go to the NFL after his freshman year. Like, he should have been able to go to the NFL after his freshman year. Like, he was ready. He was physically ready. Because these running backs are just in a different category. And he missed that field goal. He yanked that to the left. Man, come on, Dallas.
Mhm.
Come on, Dallas.
By the way,
I'm sorry.
speaking sort of. By the way, that's the second kick he's missed. The
No,
Dallas
that's
could
six
be
points
it could be
still.
16-17 right now, but Zerline's already missed 2 field goals. Anyway, speaking sort of not really, but kind of speaking of Saquon Barkley, um, the Giants. What what's going on, Seattle? You guys losing to the Giants? What are you,
The
the
kite runner,
Bengals?
bro. The kite runner,
Man, I don't know, but like me, you, and Alex all got that one wrong because I mean
Oh
it seemed
man,
like the
we
safest
should
pick of the
nickname.
week. You'd think the Seahawks easily take care of things against the Giants, but no, it did not go that way at all. Russell Wilson just did not look like Russell Wilson. Um, I mean, like the Seahawks only managed to put up 12 points. Wayne Gallman had another really good day. That I think they said it on around the NFL. Wayne Gallman is the kind of guy with the name who you wouldn't be expecting to put up numbers like Wayne Gallman's putting up. But I mean, he had 135 yards rushing this week.
Yo, I think we got to have a conversation about the Seahawks and how. First of all, that defense for the Seahawks is just not existent. I don't
They
think the
only gave
Seahawks
up
have.
17 points.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I'm just thinking about past weeks the Seahawks played. But I mean, for their offense to just disappear like that, I mean, 5 points in the first half against the Giants, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe the Giants defense is improving. Their defense is improving really well. Colt McCoy with a touchdown pass. There's some things here. There's some things to work with here with the Giants. They're just a scrappy team. They're just a scrappy team. Russell Wilson did not look good at all. I guess every quarterback have a bad game,
And
but
now, because of this game, the Seahawks are no longer in control of their division. They're actually a wild card team now.
oh wow,
Yeah,
Oh
the
wow,
Rams are winning that division now, actually,
wow. That's
with the win over the Cardinals.
maybe. Hey man, hey, if LA sweep the championship, I'd be salty. If LA sweep the championship, they got the baseball championship, they got the basketball championship. I mean, they didn't get the hockey championship, but they get the football championship too. I'd be really frustrated.
That's right.
And
I forgot the Dodgers won, didn't they?
yeah, yeah, it's about damn time. Hopefully, the Indians can win the championship sooner or later.
I am very not paying attention to baseball. like just to explain to you where I'm at. Um, the most recent thing I heard about baseball was that the Reds lost in the playoffs. I literally don't know anything that's happened since then. I think we traded some guy and people are mad about it, but some people aren't mad about it. That's honestly the extent of my baseball knowledge. Like when it comes, like I really like sports. I really get into football, and I feel like I could get into baseball if like I feel like if I got into baseball, I'd get really into baseball. I don't know. I listened to a baseball game on the radio the other day, and that was actually a really fun experience. But every time I try to watch baseball on TV, it's just excruciating. It's just I can't do it. It's boring.
By the way, Colt McCoy got his eighth win as a starter in his
Yeah, the
career.
first one since 2014. That is a fact. That is a real
He's now
fact.
8-21 as a starting quarterback in the NFL. Come on, Colt McCoy, I'm rooting for you, kite runner.
Kite runner. So
Such a nice guy. Such a nice guy too. Like I wish he had I wish he had a better career. I wish he had a better career. I wish he was the franchise quarterback of the Browns. I know he was his
so
10th season with the Browns, and he was like, he was such a cool dude, man. And I could go like, hey, I still got my kite running book.
yeah, I
I
was
still do
rooting
got
for
my kite
Colt
running book.
McCoy, honestly. Like, I mean, I wasn't rooting for the Browns, but I was rooting for Colt McCoy. But do you remember did Alex do like I know me and you both did a upset of the week prediction like we've
Yeah,
been like we said we were going to
Alex
do.
is upset of the
Did
week
Alex do one?
was the Steelers game.
Well, I mean, yeah, that would I can't remember if he declared it or not. But yeah, I
Yep,
guess
he
that
did.
would be
I went ahead. If you watch the video, you can see where it said upset of the week. Did you see did you see a couple of weeks ago when we did the prediction episode and then your sibling roasted you?
yeah,
Did
yeah. No,
you see that little
I was
edit I
there when it
made?
happened.
No, I mean, did you see the little edit I made for it?
I know. What did you
Oh, you gotta go back and watch that.
do?
You gotta go back and watch that.
All right then.
First of all, I was dying. Shout out to your sibling.
Anyway, the upset of the week that you and I picked, I believe was the 49ers over the Bills. Um, at the very least, that's what that
Yep.
was what I picked as my upset. I don't remember if that's what you picked as your upset. I know you picked that
Nope.
game for the
Nope.
49ers.
I defended you. Yep.
Right, right.
I picked it with
I
you.
know you agreed with me on that. I just don't know if that was your upset of the week.
Nope. I
Um,
picked it. I was
we
gonna
were
say the
both,
Browns and the Titans, but I wouldn't consider that an upset.
yeah,
So I was like, no, I was going to say the Browns and Titans, but I wouldn't consider that an upset since they both had the same record. But it would have been technically upset, but I didn't consider that my upset of the week. I was thinking about it though, but it wasn't. I just felt like because I felt like honestly, like you got to put the Browns and Titans in the same breath. But I guess since most people didn't think that way, I thought that way, and it proved that way.
yeah.
But I was going to say the Browns and Titans, but I just didn't say it because the Browns and Titans are
Well,
they had the same record.
I didn't think that was much of an upset personally, but I know obviously
Yeah.
Alex disagreed with us on that,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of turned around to bite him in the ass. Um, but yeah, my reasoning for picking the 49ers over the Bills is because the 49ers have been weird and winning a lot of games that they're not supposed to this year. You got Kyle Shanahan, who's, you know, maybe coach of the year. I mean, probably not now because they're 5-7 now, and they're probably not going to end up with the best record. He's done an amazing coaching job in my opinion, but I don't think the final record is really going to pop too many eyeballs. But a big reason why I picked the 49ers is because I feel like I've been watching the league kind of start to figure Josh Allen out a little bit, and
Yeah,
that was absolutely not the case this week. Um, Josh Allen completed 32 of his 40 passes for 375 yards and 4 touchdowns.
yeah.
I mean, like
Josh Allen looked good.
that's better than
Josh Allen
I
looked
don't
good.
remember what Baker Mayfield's numbers were, but I'm pretty sure that's better than even Baker Mayfield this week.
Yeah, Josh Allen looks good. And the scary thing about the Bills is that they had a harder schedule than the Browns and the Steelers have. So
Hmm.
we gotta give respect to the Bills. The Bills look good.
Well, you know
I would
what?
want
The Bills play the Steelers this coming week,
tomorrow.
so
Yeah,
we
next week.
will
Yeah,
see what they're really made of. If they beat the Steelers, then I might start. I'm not saying I'm going to pick them as a Super Bowl team or anything like that, but I definitely think it's time to start paying attention to the Bills, like for real, if they beat the Steelers next week.
I still want to meet them. I still personally would rather meet the Bills in the playoffs than the Chiefs or the Steelers. Though personally,
Uh,
call me crazy.
Steelers or the Chiefs, yeah, but the Steelers, I don't know. I'm feeling like the Steelers are unbelievably overrated and honestly pretty soft. I feel like their schedule has made them pretty soft. Um, Whereas, like,
I
the
just
Chiefs got to redeem themselves against the whole Raiders thing, and they found a way to end up beating the Raiders. So it's kind of a little bit different for the Chiefs. Um, but like I said, the Steelers, the way that they've been winning this year for the most part, and except again for the Bengals and Browns game, but it hasn't been impressive to me the way that they've been winning in
yeah
really a lot of these games, and a lot of it's been against bad competition. So it makes me think that when the playoffs hit, the Steelers are going to be completely and utterly unprepared for playing these, actually good teams. They might be a
mhm.
little prepared because they got, they got a pretty difficult slate coming out. But other than that, I don't know. It just seems to me like the Steelers are going to be far more unprepared for the playoffs than I think a lot of people are giving them credit for.
Yeah, yeah. I can see that. I don't know. I'm just more afraid of the Chiefs scare me guys because of Patrick Mahomes and their Super Bowl winners. The Steelers scare me because they're dude. You about to start a fight like that. That's good self control because Marquise Brown was all in the face of that defender.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. The Steelers have been to the playoffs multiple times. They've been a franchise that's been in the playoffs year after year. The Chiefs are a Super Bowl winning team. The Bills been in the playoffs last year, and I know that's an achievement for the franchise and team, and that's the second time in 3 years being in the playoffs. They still have won a playoff game in a very long time, and you still have a young rookie quarterback who's learning how to win. I think that the Browns beat the Bills last year with Freddie Kitchens while it was on losing streak. And I remember that. I know the Browns. I just think the Browns could really beat the Bills. I think the Browns will have a really good. I think Miles Garrett caused some problems for Josh Allen, and I just think the Browns will be a good matchup for the Bills. I'm really afraid of the Chiefs and the experience the Steelers have. The Bills don't scare me as much. So
Well,
like
you
if we
know
had the
what?
opportunity to play the Bills, the Bills lose a few games here and there. Like I
The
don't know. I think
way
the
the
best
way
situation
the
for the Browns is
Steelers
sorry.
no, you're good. The way the Steelers took y'all to town earlier this year,
Hmm?
um, I can sort of see that. Let's see what happens in week 17. But I don't know. I personally, I mean, I'm a Bengals fan, so I'm scared of every team. Like there
Yeah.
isn't a single team that I don't think, oh my god, they could kick our ass under the right conditions. Like They all
Mhm.
we could lose to the Jets. I'll be honest with you. Like we could play the Jets, and I wouldn't be completely confident that we'd win that game. I mean, I would probably pick the Bengals, but I wouldn't pick the Bengals 100%. You know, I wouldn't call it a lock against any team. Um, but that said, thinking about it from the perspective of a team that's gonna be in the playoffs, I don't know. I don't think the Steelers are really a team to be feared. And we'll see it with the Browns. We'll see how you guys handle them in week 17. But if you guys are really kind of turned into a different team than the one that was getting blown out by divisional opponents earlier this year, then I don't know. Like honestly, I would be. I can see why you're not too scared of the Bills because you're right. The Browns do match up well against them, but I don't know the Steelers. Just I don't think the Steelers are going in a good direction, and it's masked by the fact that they've been inexplicably winning, except they didn't
Yeah,
against Washington.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I think the best situation for the Browns, obviously, for the playoffs is the best situation for the Browns for the playoffs is that if the Steelers lose, the Steelers lose another game and the Browns get to play the Steelers in Week 17 to win the division. That's the best. That's the best case scenario for the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so if that were to happen, then hopefully we get the Colts a second time, which wouldn't be a bad situation. Or the I don't want to play the Titans twice because I think if we play the Titans twice, they might come back and beat us. So I don't want to play them twice. But I think we beat the Colts twice. They don't scare us. They don't scare me, and we might get the Dolphins. We might get the Raiders. That might be fun. The Browns get the Raiders. I don't think they get the Raiders because I think they actually there's a chance. So like I mean like the Browns could easily slide to that number 2 seed in the playoffs. If the Steelers lose one or two more games,
Well,
that'd be exciting. You know,
I got bad news for you, buddy. If the playoffs started today, you know who you'd be playing in the first round?
the Titans.
Titans, yes.
Yep,
It would be the
yep, yep.
Browns and Titans. It would be the Dolphins and Bills. It'd be the Colts and the Chiefs.
I don't think that's gonna stand.
Oh, I don't think so either.
Personally,
I
I
don't think
think
the
that
Dolphins are even going to make the playoffs.
well, yeah, that um, yeah, I agree. I think the Raiders are going to take the Dolphins spot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I also think that the number 3 seed is going to be the number 3. Is that number 3 or number 4?
Yeah.
No, the number 4 seed because it's 4 divisions, right? Yeah. So the number 4 seed is going to be a. I think the number 4 seed is going to be the AFC East, not the AFC South. I think the AFC South is going to be number 3 seed, and I think the AFC East. So I think the Browns' first round opponent, if the Browns do not win a division, the Browns like stay the number 5 seed. I think they're going to play a AFC East team. Because contrary to popular belief, I actually still don't believe the Bills. I think the Bills going to lose a couple games here and there. I think that the AFC South, I think teams in the AFC South are going to find ways to get closer to that playoff spot. And I just think the AFC East is the worst division in the AFC. Consequently, I think that an AFC East team is going to be the number 4 seed in the playoffs. Um,
I got to
that's
be
just my
honest.
opinion.
The only game I'm looking at the Bills' schedule, the only game that I think, like, I mean, if I were to just go through the rest of the Bills' final 4 games and pick if they're going to win or lose, I mean, I think they'll beat the Steelers next week. I think
Okay.
they'll, I think they'll beat the Broncos handily in Week 15. Um,
Yeah.
I do think they might lose to the Patriots in Week 16 in Foxborough on Monday night, but then I think they'll
Yeah.
beat the Dolphins in Week 17.
I
So I
think I
mean,
think I think they're gonna lose against Patriots.
yeah,
I think
but
the
I mean
Patriots gonna beat them.
that still puts them at what 12-4.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
is 12-4 going to be the number 4 seed? Especially with
Ooh.
the like I mean, you say the AFC East is the worst division. Um, I think it could
You're right.
I think you could make the argument for the AFC South being the worst division because like I don't know, the Bills are pretty good. The Dolphins are weirdly good out of nowhere. And the Patriots are being competitive. Whereas, like, the Titans and the Colts are both pretty good, but I think the Titans might be a little bit of a mirage. And I think the Colts might be a little bit of a mirage too. And then the Texans and Jaguars are just trash.
I don't think the Texans are trash. I think the Texans are just dysfunctional. I think the Jaguars are trash.
Okay, look,
I
look,
think
there are different levels of trash.
okay.
Like first of all, the Jaguars are not even as much trash as they might seem. I mean, this is a scrappy team who, like the Bengals, hasn't been blown out a whole lot this year. They've been in the
Yeah.
vast majority of their games. They just, for whatever reason, can't find a way to win them. Again, like the Bengals. Um, the Texans, I mean, yeah, they got Deshaun Watson, but I mean, when Deshaun Watson can't win them games, they ain't got much else going on. I know
Yeah.
J.J. Watt's a Hall of Famer, but I mean, he's definitely at the on the downside of his career.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying. You might be right. Looking at it right now, I think you're right. It's probably going to be a AFC South team that makes that number 4 seed. Unless the Bills lose a lot of these games coming forward, I don't think the Bills are. I mean, something got to give. Either the Dolphins got to give or the Bills got to give. I don't think the. I think if I were to bet, I would bet the Dolphins will give before the Bills. Excuse me, because if the Dolphins lose with the Bills, I don't think the Dolphins are going to beat the. I think the Dolphins are going to beat the Raiders. So you say the Dolphins are going to beat the playoffs. Like I'm going to tend to agree with you because I don't think that they take 2 losses like that. But I do think the Bills are going to lose to the Patriots.
I
Um,
think
and I'm not sure if they. I don't think if I looking at what happened to the Steelers yesterday, I wouldn't put money on the Steelers winning against the Bills Sunday night on short rest. But I don't know. The Steelers could still easily win that game.
I
It can go
think
either way. We're gonna
don't
figure a lot of.
don't be shocked if the New England Patriots find a way to sneak their way into that number 7 seed. Don't don't be shocked. Like I know it's kind of far fetched, but it's not as far fetched as you might think. I mean they're
Yeah,
6-6 and they've had some good wins lately, and their upcoming schedule. You've got the Dolphins who have not looked as dominant as they looked there for a little while. They got the Bills, which, like I said earlier, I think they'll win. They got the Jets in Week 17, so I mean there's a freebie right there. This coming week they got the who they got? They got the LA Rams, so they probably won't win that game. Um, But I mean, they could upset the Rams, and if they upset the Rams, then I don't think there's really a whole lot keeping them from 10 and
yeah,
6 this year. If they don't beat the Rams, then they'll probably be 9-7, and they probably won't make the playoffs at that point. But if they
yeah.
do pull off the upset, don't be shocked. That's all I'll say. Because like I'm not predicting the
No. I'm
Patriots to
with
make
you.
the playoffs. I'm just saying don't be absolutely dumbfounded.
I mean, look at my predictions. You can see, I shoot. I one of the ways I was able to get a big lead in these predictions were picking the Patriots at the right time. Like I know when to pick the Patriots. I know when Bill Belichick's got a trick up his sleeve or two. And no, I completely agree with you. The Patriots are
Way so.
so. I am terrified of playing. Um, I'm terrified of playing Bill Belichick in the playoffs with a young quarterback like Baker Mayfield
Oh,
because something about Bill Belichick and figuring out young quarterbacks. I don't know why. I don't know what he does, but he's a magician. And like, there's already the criticism about Baker Mayfield. Like, I want the Browns to have the easiest possible opponent in the first round. If I can have my way, the Browns will play either the Dolphins or the Raiders in the first round. That's what I want to happen. I think that's the best case scenario for the Browns is to play either the Dolphins or the Raiders because I think that you play the Raiders in a game where it was a hurricane game and the weather was so bad. It was the first bad weather game of the year. And you had a rookie head coach who was learning how to win in bad weather, and he just didn't figure out how to win in bad weather. So I think if the Browns had a second go at the Raiders, I think they'll beat them. Plus, they didn't have Nick Chubb. I think if the Browns had a second chance against the Raiders, they'd beat the Dolphins. I think the Browns will beat just simply because I think the Browns is the better team than the Dolphins. I think they just flat out beat them. Those are two teams that I want to play in the playoffs. If they got the Patriots, that would scare me. That would absolutely terrify me.
Oh yeah, I think the only teams that like the only potential playoff teams that I think the Patriots might have a tough time against is the Chiefs, obviously.
Yeah.
The oh boy, the Titans, just because the Titans have done it before, and
Yeah.
Ryan Tannehill is enough of a veteran. I'm not going to say the Colts because Philip Rivers is a veteran, but he's also notably skittish and easily rattled. So
I was hoping to get the Colts in the playoffs. I think we beat the Colts in the playoffs convincingly. I think we would smoke the Colts in the playoffs. I think we embarrassed the Colts if we played them in the playoffs. Man, especially if we got them at home. Oh man, I wish. Man, I really hope we get the Bills. Part of me wants the Bills in the playoffs. I wouldn't mind having the Bills. The Bills are the Colts. So either I need the Colts to win their division. I kind of want the Colts to win their division, or the I don't know yet. I don't know. We got 4 weeks. This could go anywhere. I need to stop talking about the playoffs. It is fun. I can talk about the playoffs though. It's fun. The first year of this podcast, I can talk about the playoffs. So
well, this is
fun.
also the first year of the podcast in general. So
yeah, no, I know. I got to talk about the playoffs. So let me knock on wood that we do this for a long time.
But
hopefully the Bengals will talk in playoffs next year.
Most likely, for you guys probably wouldn't see the Bills in the playoffs until the AFC Championship if you make it that far. Other than that, the seeds I think for the Bills and the Browns are probably just going to be too wildly opposite to the point that they probably won't see each other until the AFC Championship if they make it that far.
I think the most likely scenario is that we play one of those AFC South teams. Looking at it right now,
I think so.
Yeah, either that or if we win a division, we'll probably play either. I think it's best case scenario. The Browns need to win a division. If the Browns have opportunity to win a division, that's the best case scenario. The Browns should win. The Browns got to win a division.
I think the Browns can do it because, like you said on the main podcast, if the Steelers lose one more game, then the Browns can take that division with a Week 17 win, and that would, in my opinion, that would be the best thing to happen to AFC North football this year. Is to have like an AFC North championship game essentially in Week 17. Like a division championship game. I think that would be cool as hell. That'd be good football to watch.
Yeah. Oh my God, that'd be so great. In a home game in a Brown Stadium would be the first home game in a Brown Stadium in history. Even though I'm about to be really sure I think the Browns could get a better stadium. I'm not saying they need a dome. I'm just saying they need a better stadium because that stadium is it's kind of bland. If I'm being honest, you have two world-class stadiums, the Cavs Stadium and the Indian Stadium, just beautiful. And the Brown Stadium is just there. I digress. That's not the top of the discussion. They need a new stadium, Cleveland.
Well, to be completely honest with you, I think the Browns are going to need to put together a few more years like this to, I think, convince the people of Cleveland that the Browns are worth giving a new like a state of the art stadium too.
It's already in the works. It's already in the works, actually. Is he gonna miss another one? Oh, you missed another one. You trash.
Who's Zerline?
It's Mysterio. Oh, you are so fired. He's like,
you know what's actually funny? Over the off season, I was actually because I've been anti Randy Bullock ever since we brought him in. I have never been a fan of Randy Bullock. I've been wanting us to get a new kicker instead of Randy Bullock ever since he's been in Cincinnati. And I mean, I know he's having a bad game, but in general, Greg Zuerlein is one of the better kickers in the NFL. And it's weird because he's having such a bad game, but in general, he's one of the better kickers in the NFL. And I actually wanted the Bengals to sign him in the offseason.
He also plays in a dome.
Yeah,
That helps.
but it's been going.
Before we go, I do want to talk a little more about the. I know we talked about this on the main podcast. The Jalen Hurts starting Carson Wentz. I think that adds a whole new layer of this NFC East race. I'm very excited to see what Jalen Hurts does. I'm actually a huge fan of Jalen Hurts. That's not why I wanted Carson.
Do I got you now? I think I got you now.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Hello? So you were talking about Jalen Hurts.
Oh, dang. Okay. Jalen Hurts, I am excited about you. I think Jalen Hurts is going to do a really great job this next week. I think he's going to do a really good job moving forward.
Can't do much
really
worse
excited
than
that he
gets
an opportunity to start. Yeah. And I didn't want to see you bench Carson Wentz. I want to see Jalen Hurts play. I want to see you bench because you are a trash-ass player and your name is Carson. Never met a nice guy named Carson. If your name is Carson, you are a douche.
You like know Courtney. What boggles my God. You know what boggles my mind is like Carson Wentz was at one time seen to be the future of a franchise. Like this is the guy who, everybody thought was going to lead the Eagles to relevancy. And I don't know what happened to him. He just went completely freaking, I don't know. He just completely fell off the map, like just out of nowhere. It's insane. But anyway, in the interest of avoiding more internet problems, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this episode up of predictions. Thanks for listening, everybody. Next episode is obviously going to be the episode where we predict our predictions. That's a weird way to say that. Anyway, week 14 is coming up next.
Make our predictions.
And, what?
Make our predictions.
Yeah, make our predictions. Week 14 is coming up next. Thomas is currently leading me 54-41 on the season. And I think I'm starting to kind of run out of time to close that gap. But, I mean, you never know. Thomas could have a really, really, really bad week. And I could have a really, really, really good week. That's not likely.
All I have to do is just pick all the teams you pick.
Yeah, pretty much.
I can just cherry pick.
Yeah, you could. I mean, that wouldn't be very fun, but you could do that.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
It kind of defeats the purpose of doing this whole thing anyway.
No, I mean, it's not like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. There's literally nothing to lose here. There's literally nothing to lose here. We're just
we don't even have like an inside bet on this or anything like that. Like,
No, we got literally nothing. We're just doing this just for shits and giggles.
Right. So, hence why I was perfectly okay with picking Mitch Trubisky and the Bears over the Packers that one week. because why the fuck not,
Jump off the bridge, bro. That was funny. If y'all didn't see that, go watch the last podcast and watch the part where we talked about the stock market in 1920s. That was great.
Yeah, great. So anyway, thanks for listening, everybody, and we will see you on.
All right, I'm getting frustrated with this.
Yeah, I'm getting pretty frustrated with it too. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you on the next episode, and who day?
Go Browns.
Nope.